Hello guys, Susanna here. Well, we are back with the next block, and this month's block is about quilting. There's a lot to learn about quilting, so I'm just starting with basic techniques. I thought I'd take you through a few books and a few steps. I'm going to be learning about rotary cutting, or if you don't have that, you're going to learn about doing it like tracing it out and just cutting it with scissors. So I'll sort of take you through a bit of everything with this one. It's something that I've done for a while. I'm no expert, but you can get fantastic books. So I have got this book from Tilda Studio. Now let's have a look. We'll move it over here. There we go. So this is like a modern style. I've got a couple of older ones as well. You go into your thrift shops and you get your embroidery and quilting. So this has been really good because I've used this to do, it's got some ribbon embroidery. Here's your quilting. I'll show you about the log cabin and all that in there. So this book here, I may have shown it in a previous video, I don't know. So this is a really quite easy pattern, some of them, and some of them are a bit trickier. My recommendation for to do your first one is actually probably a log cabin is a really good first time quilt project. Excuse me, I've got to blow my nose. Yeah, so there's some beautiful patterns in this book, and you get the pictures as well as the instructions and what fabrics you need. I'm currently working on one of these quilts in here, and I'll show you when I come to that. This is probably not recommended as a first one, but this is the type of stuff that you can obtain to when you feel a bit more comfortable and when you've mastered the rotary cutter and all that kind of stuff. Look how nice they look. That's the same quilt, different colours. They just look so different in different colours. Beautiful. Tilda patterns and all that are really good. So you go into your local quilt shop. Okay, here's another one, vintage teapot quilt. I love this one. This is probably still like quite an advanced one. If you made the back and did applique, like just used heat and bond and just applique them on, that would be a lot easier, as these is individual piecing. But I mean, it looks beautiful once it's done, but it gives you step-by-step guide on how to do it. Birdhouse quilt. Still, yeah, look at all these little tiny little pieces. It's fairly full on. Surprisingly not as full on as you might think. That's probably easier than the other ones. So just a quick flick. Now this is 4-block quilt. See, this is a nice simple one. Well, she says when you open it, well, it's easier than some of the others. It's when you are doing quilting, you do all your cutting and everything at once. I wanted to make a quilt for my bed. Oh, isn't that cute? See, this is a bit more work. Another, you got to make the little blocks, but it's not impossible. This is what you can work towards if you're a beginner. If you're not a beginner, you'll know what I'm talking about. Oh, it's so cute. Really like that one. Wouldn't mind making a pillow. Here we go. And put it on my bed. So that's probably, if you're wanting to do that, make a pillow and see whether you can do heaps of them. Now this is the quilt that I am making. Cross quilt. There we go. It's in the different colours, and I will show you. I have gotten this is the background fabric, just some homespun, and then these are I think the crosses, and it's really quite simple. It looks like individual squares, but you cut strips and then you cut them. So I I sewed 3 strips together and then I cut them and then you put it together. It's actually quite easy because it's only see here it's got where you put individual squares together. Well, I don't do that. I just think it's too much work. So I do, see, I cut the strips and I sew a few together and then I cut that and then put it on. So this is my quilt. This is like French fabrics, and this is actually a shirt from my husband. These are the Tilda fabrics, these ones here. Another shirt, one of my husband's favourite shirts. I think this I might have got from a thrift shop, but I think I've done all of these ones, and I'm starting on doing those. So I just thought they were beautiful. Yeah, I've done all those, and I'm starting to do those. And here's my little stash of fabrics that, see, all strips that I've cut, and then you sew the strips together. So it is quite easy. Thought I'd show you that. Might motivate me to actually finish it. So there you go. There's that. So this is a really good one as probably a first quilt as well, because it's all strips, and that's what Log Cabin is. This is a really good first quilt too. I was going to either do that one or this one. This is pretty simple. It's all strips being sewn together. Looks complex, but it isn't really once you get started. But it shows you how to put it together. Okay, some beautiful quilts. I'll just have a quick flick. This is getting a little bit more adventurous. The plain background. The beauty in this one is the actual quilting. I don't do a great deal of quilting. I send them away to get quilted for people. You know, something like this. No. Always when I do a queen size quilt, I get it sent away. Beautiful quilting though. Something like this I could probably quilt myself because it's all strips. This is a super easy one. I think they've done it. You can just do, you know, you do stitch in the ditch, which is these are the, so if you quilted it, you just do straight lines going down, and if you wanted to, because there's all of these, you could probably go across as well. I make it really, really simple. So that's a nice easy quilt. Strip quilts are the quickest ones to do. Okay, just have a quick flick. It's not a book view, but just shows you what you can do if you're into bits and pieces. And then you get all the patterns and everything at the back. That's why Tilda is really good. So that's that one. This is the one that we're going to be doing. Here, I've got them. We're doing a tiny little one. I've already pre-done it, but I'm going to redo one with you. Here's the kits. For people that have got the kits, all the bits and pieces. I've just used a doily as a centerpiece. When I'm going to show you, I'm using a pretty, you know, a nice floral solid fabric as the centerpiece. See, it's quite tiny. Ideally, you'd probably want to make something a bit bigger, but it has to fit on our page. So that's what we're going to be doing. And so Log Cabin, there's all different ways of doing it. That's the basic one that I have done. That's Log Cabin 2. It's just how you turn the fabric and make it all work. If you did 4 of them and you had 4 of that colour, that would again create a pattern within the pattern. See? Beautiful. So it's a Log Cabin, and that's creating a pattern within a pattern. Darks on one side, lights on the other, and you wouldn't think this was Log Cabin, but it is. So that's what I like about Log Cabin. It works. And so here's some more. It's a nice easy one, really simple one. You can tell this is an old book. So, and you've got patterns and everything in there. If you're into that, it sort of reminds me of the Amish type. but the log cabin is what we're doing in this one. And also, if you've got a super modern book, which is the Mandy one, you know, she's even used a log cabin in her stitches. So she's used a like an embroidered doily, and you can, like, I've only got how many? The middle one, 2, 3, 4. Well, she's got a few. So it's and rather than see how I've got 2 the same, she's got a different one every time. So if you wanted to do that for those who don't have the kits, which is going to be a majority of you, you could probably do it like that. I think that would look really nice too. But just use the measurements. This one you'll definitely need the measurements in your stash. So what we are going to do, okay, I've just got, where are we? Oh, here we go. I've got, what you will need is your bits and pieces. So I recommend a ruler. If you don't have that type of ruler, where's my other ones? Just a general normal ruler. In this case, that would work too. So this is a cutting mat. Now okay, so here's all the bits and pieces that you need. So this block here, this has got all the measurements of it, and quilting is usually done in inches. If you want to do it in centimeters, you can, but most quilting places it's all done in inches. So this is the actual size of the sewn up bit, like as in that's finished. Okay, so where are we? The finished size should be about 1.5, yeah. So these are the size of the pieces that you actually cut out. So 2 by 2 inches is actually really easy. So you get the ruler, 1, 2 inches. So now for those who don't have a rotary cutter, which this one or this one, you know, I've got the rotary cutter, and you want to do it by hand. Okay, here's 2. There's 2 there. Get yourself a nice sharp pencil, draw that down like that. I probably don't need it that long, and that's the guide, and then you put the other 2 on there and you draw it along there like that. Okay, so the center, so there's the 2 there. Make sure you grab it on the line there. There we go. It's 2 that way. Then you turn it around and measure 2 inches that way. Okay, now if you do have a rotary cutter, you would just do that and not even worry about measuring. You just go, you cut it. This is terrible. I think I need a new sharp blade. I think that's probably why I got this one, because the blade is not as sharp. Okay, then it's 2. Need to move that. I'm going to get the blade up a little higher. See, it's 2 there. cut. Oh, I think I need a new blade. Now, you got the idea of, you know, cutting with a rotary cutter is a lot easier. If you got haven't got the rotary cutter, you just measure it out and you cut it with the scissors, and that's why you get a nice sharp pencil or a pen. And you can do the same with this. If this is the only ruler that you got, you know, I recommend you trying with this. See, that's 2 inches, and so you would just mark 2 inches that way, 2 inches that way, and then you draw it up. So most of them have got big ruler, they got inches on there. Now what you do for the actual other bits, so when you get a piece of fabric, what you generally do is you get the straight top like that, and you cut it so that there's a clean edge. Oh, that's really bad. I think I need, make sure that you've got a sharp rotary cutter. Now some of these measurements are a little bit weird. Okay, so one, which is 1 inch times 2.5, right? So this is block 2. Okay. So you got 1 inch, so 1 inch wide. Most of them are 1 inch wide. Okay, so they're all 1 inch. So what you do is you get your strips, you cut, that's on the line. I might stand up for this. You do, so you've got all these 1 inch strips. So 2.5, which is 2.5. So 2.5, there's 3. So you go 2.5. So like that's 2.5. Okay. No. Yes. So you would cut it or measure it there. Now some of this is like 3 by 3/4. So which is nearly 4. So each of these are 1/4. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then the 4. So that's how much you would have it. 1, 2, 3 plus 3/4. Okay. When they go into 3/8 and all that kind of stuff, I find it really hard. Halves and quarters and all that works out. So quilting can be quite mathematical. So that piece, and each of them you cut 2. So the biggest piece is 3 3/4, which will be this large piece here. I've already gotten, see, 3 3/4. So whereas this one, like that one, is 0.5, which is 1/2. So 2.5, 1/4, 2/4. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, full. So that's how you go. So they're fairly, so yep, 3 1/4, 3 1/4, 3 plus 1/4. So they have to be, they're all 1 inch strips, so that's really easy. I think I've got some leftover strips and bits that I've got here. So they're all 1 inch strips, which is what you do. Okay, so that's sort of a lesson. I'm hoping that is I hope I've explained it well enough for you. So that same techniques, if you don't have it, you just do, you know, like if you don't have one of these rulers or whatever, use your basic ruler and you go down with a pencil or a pen. If it's a patterned piece of fabric, you might need a pen. Remember, measure twice, cut once. That's the rule. So okay, now just put this back and get my little block out. So we need a piece of fabric which is the width of your piece, and I've gotten that. Here's the embroidery all finished. Actually, I'll show you on the other side. I didn't do just enough to hold it down. See? Just enough to hold it down. As I said, I'd show you on this one. So this one here, I've just got a really pretty background fabric, which I have also got. Get yourself a plain fabric here, which is where we're going to put. Do you trace that on there? Do the word quilting. Where are we? Oh, here it is. So that's going to be, you know, put underneath, and then I've got it to that point. This bit of fabric, which you would have if you got the kit, I'll show you when it gets to that point. You cut. How wide is that? Usually it's 2 inches. Oh, no, go a bit smaller. 1.5 inches, or a little bit over 1 3/4. There you go. Then you fold it in half, iron it, and this is what we're going to be using as the binding. It is small, but it's still the same techniques. So I've got, this is my leftover pieces. I've got this, we're going to use this to have like a little hanger on the top. So get yourself a nice bit of ribbon, and a button. Either that one, I think that one might be a little bit big. I might use that one or that one. See how we go. And then when it's done, I'll attach it. And then I might make that smaller. Tuck that under, make it smaller, and do a pretty quilting pattern, and then have the word quilting. So there you go. So your homework for this part is to, you know, maybe even just get some books out and cut up all your pieces. If you've got the kit, you're lucky. I've cut them all up for you. Yeah, so I thought I'd just, while I was cutting up mine, I just cut extra. So and I'm going to be, this is one where you actually use your sewing machine, so I'm going to try and hook it up onto the sewing machine to see how we go with doing that. Okay guys, well that's the introduction to the quilting. So cut up all your pieces, maybe even grab yourself a piece, put the word quilting in the middle, something that's going to match it, and sort of like a plain, see, it's plain but it's still pretty, and it's going to contrast with the back piece here. So do the word quilting and cut up your pieces, and then I'll show you what you need to do next week on putting it all together. Okay, thanks for watching guys. Bye.